Guten gardening, everybody. Did you know that pollinators are responsible for 1 out of every 3 bites of food that we eat? In fact, they're an essential part of our ecosystem. And yet many species are facing a significant decline in population. And so in this video, we're going to explore how we can make a difference through initiatives like No Mow May, Mow Spring, and other ways of supporting our pollinators. Now, I definitely want to frame this video as a conversation around supporting our pollinators and not as a general statement that everyone should do X, Y, or Z, but rather providing some options for ways in which, depending on what we have in our space, depending on our overall needs for our space, we can try to get out there and increase the populations of our pollinators, which are, as I said, so essential to our production of fruits and vegetables. Now, since I brought it up at the beginning of this video, I'm going to first talk about No Mow May and Mow Spring. The concept or the idea behind No Mow May actually started in 2019 in the UK. And the idea is very simple. In the month of May, if you're doing No Mow May, you would try to avoid mowing your lawn that entire month. The purpose behind that being that a lot of the flowers that form early in the spring, like your dandelions, just as an example, are there to support and to feed the pollinators up until everything else gets going. And so if you don't mow during May, you provide additional food and shelter for the pollinators, which should increase the overall population. And some of the research that I've seen suggests that lawns that didn't mow in May increased their pollinators. Now, the concept of No Mow May has definitely spread to Wisconsin, where we live, and there are over 20 different towns and cities that are supporting and participating in No Mow May. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is definitely not some sort of one-size-fits-all experience where everyone can take part in No Mow May. And there are a number of reasons. We did a poll on our community page where we asked our community members if they were taking part in No Mow May or Mow Spring, and 54% at the time I'm recording this, it may change, but 54% said they weren't taking part in either of those. And some of the folks who said they weren't actually left some feedback as to why not. So I think that's an important part of this conversation. For us here at Guten Gardening, we don't even have a very big lawn left over after all of the work that we've done to create our garden spaces. So for us, going with a No Mow May is not actually a very big deal. But for a lot of other folks, there are so many pieces that have to be taken into consideration here. The area where we live happens to be participating in No Mow May, so we can't get in trouble for letting our grass grow tall. But I know that some people have that problem where they have inspectors come out and look at the level of the grass that you have, and so you have to keep your grass mowed. I also know that for some folks, you have types of weeds that would absolutely take over and be a huge problem, even spending time out in the yard if you let the grass and let those weeds grow too much. And beyond that, you may find in some areas, if ticks and other kinds of pests are prevalent, that you allow your grass to grow out too much, you may see an increase in those pests. And if your grass gets really, really tall and you do one single mowing, you may find that that's too much to break down over time, and you could actually cause some problems for your lawn. So there's a lot to take into consideration there, but I think there are some pretty good options out there that can help you if you're not interested or unable to do a No Mow May. And one of those is the Mow Spring, where you keep your grass level at about 4 to 5 inches, which should still give some good room for your pollinators to grow and to thrive, while not allowing the grass to get too tall, perhaps, for your area, and preventing some of those weeds from coming in and potentially taking over if that's something you struggle with. Now, another really feasible option would be to create a pollinator garden, a place that's going to be filled with food and really bring in those pollinators to your space. You know, the last couple of years, we've focused really hard on making sure we had some great pollinators, and some of those pollinators are actually quite edible as well. Your borage, your chives. Tell you what, chives are one of my absolute favorite pollinators, not just because they're edible, but besides that, they're beautiful. I think that pinkish purple flower is magnificent, and the pollinators flock there. And we would also definitely recommend that you consider planting some native flowers in your garden as well. That's going to require less upkeep because it's from your area. It's something that knows how to grow in your climate. And many times those flowers are excellent pollinator attractors. Some really good examples of those native flowers in our area include milkweed, which we also then get the benefit of some of our butterflies, coneflower, our black-eyed Susans, bee balm, and there's just a whole bunch more that you can add to attract those pollinators in. And you know, another commenter on that post talked about some of the things that they're doing in their yard that really takes the place of No Mow May and supports the pollinators. And you can do things like leaving bits of dead wood at different spots in your yard, or installing bee hotels, or leaving leaf litter around so that the pollinators have a place to live as well. Now, whether you decide to do No Mow May, Mow Spring, or other things around your garden, your yard that are going to support the pollinators, it's also a good idea to remember if you can supply a water source, especially during the hotter days, once we get a little bit farther into May, or as we start to heat up, if we can create a place with a bird bath, or even a shallow dish filled with stones so that the pollinators can get in there and have something to drink, that can be helpful as well. Now, I should note that we decided to grow organically here at Guten Gardening, and that's what we've been doing for years from the start of our gardening time. So we don't spray any pesticides, anything that's not organic. And a lot of those pesticides can harm the pollinators that are in your area. But if you are going to or need to use pesticides for some reason, let's say it's really important to follow the directions carefully. And if you can, avoid times when the pollinators are more active so you can try to keep them safe as much as possible. Now, as I said early on in this video, I wanted to frame this as a conversation about some of the things that we can do to help our pollinators and improve the diversity of them, improve the overall numbers so that we can guarantee we have good food production into the future. Our production increases as our pollinators are attracted to our yard and as they do the work that they do. So these are just a couple of things that you can do, whether it's No Mow May, Mow Spring, or providing areas where your pollinators can come to feed. There are a ton of options, and this is the part where I want that conversation to continue, hopefully in the comments. We want to know your thoughts about this. I mean, I know a lot of people have said, well, No Mow Spring is just a fad, but I've seen data supporting the notion that it's going to help improve your pollination. It's just not the only option out there, and we want to know what you do. So please leave us a comment. Let us know what types of things you do to support the pollinators in your garden. Again, I think we can all agree they're an essential part of having a successful garden. So please let us know in the comments. We hope you found this video to be informational, maybe even a little bit inspirational to get out there and not mow if you can. But in general, please, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to give us a like. Leave us a comment, remember to share and subscribe, and most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.